Greetings! Welcome to the 3000 Newswire's first webcast. It's an experiment that we're trying, like so many experiments that you all are working on throughout the community. Today is the last day of OpenMPE voting. While it's kind of a non-event for a lot of people who haven't participated, it's important this year. This is an election that will decide who's going to sit on this board of volunteers that'll actually have a resource to control this year. They're going to have MPE source code, something that the group was formed to gain. Way back when, 8 years ago in 2002, I sat in a restaurant one morning out in California and watched John Backus have a breakfast meeting with Dave Wild from HPCSY, the beginning of talks on trying to wrest source code from HP for the 3000 now that the migration and transition season was upon the community. Well, all these years later, it's a reality. Now there are source code licenses. OpenMPE has gained one, and they're near the point where they're actually going to be able to have something to review and look at. What they're waiting on right now is not the results of the election, but the remaining dollars that are required to pay HP for the license for this source code. They feel confident that they have what they need. They've got pledges. They certainly have already received an invoice. What they're looking for right now are checks, money that's going to come in that will be able to pay HP so that OpenMPE can take its source code and parcel it out to the independent experts in the community that are going to do a review and a verification so that eventually the organization is going to be able to write patches for the 3000 community. Will this ever happen? Well, it's definitely a lot closer to reality than it was a year ago, when there was no source code license at all. HP only announced this at the end of 2008, and it wasn't clear whether anybody would actually be able to complete the application to HP satisfaction and actually get source code shipped to them. Well, HP's been doing the shipping of the source code this month, and now it's time to pay the bill. So while there's ballots that'll be counted this weekend, the more important number that'll be counted throughout the month is how much money arrives in the OpenMPE treasury to take care of paying HP for its source code license. OpenMPE needs everybody to help in order to be able to make this a reality. And this is a request that you're going to get from some of the other source code licensee holders. They're taking care of business on a traditional basis. They build customers, they generate revenue, but OpenMPE is just getting started in this real part of its world. And it's asked the community for contributions to be able to pay for its source code license. Well, the 3000 Newswire is going to be one of those organizations that's going to be sending a check to OpenMPE to their treasury for them to be able to forward to Hewlett-Packard. I got to say, in 15 years' time, we haven't ever sent any money to Hewlett-Packard. But these are interesting times, and interesting times call for fresh measures. So we're among the people that are going to be contributing so that OpenMPE can have an independent source code license. And we invite you to do the same. This isn't a very large check, but together there'll be enough of them to be able to put the OpenMPE source code in the hands of some really sharp people. There's no mystery at all about what's going to happen with the OpenMPE election. Next week, the 5 candidates are going to be seated on the board. The mystery becomes, what is it that checks like this one here are going to be able to do to enable OpenMPE to actually create something that the community can use? But we're willing to send this seed money out to see what might be done when a group of HP 3000 community members who've been around for decades get together with a technical resource that most of them have never seen and try to develop something that HP no longer will build. $500 at a time, $1,000 at a time, these little seeds are going to add up. OpenMPE will be able to meet the HP invoice. They'll send the source code out to an expert who's going to review it and verify it and begin to take a look at what can be done. We're willing to experiment. We hope you are too. On the 3000 Newswire's website, there's a link next to this podcast that'll give you an address information on where to send off your check. We made ours out to OpenMPE Incorporated, and it'll be deposited in the Treasury. And we'll keep track and find out what's going on with the project after they've had the source code. We expect that they'll be a little more accountable to the rest of the community, perhaps, than some individual license holders. Those license holders are accountable to their customers. But in a sense, OpenMPE's customers are a much wider range of the community. We want to seed them with the revenues that they need to be able to do the work that they proposed back in 2002 at that breakfast meeting in California. We hope you'll join us. Stay tuned. We'll have updates on what happens with OpenMPE's source code use. Thanks a lot for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week with results of the election.